You know, it's wild how often the things we interact with every single day, the things we just take for granted, are actually these like incredibly intricate, almost bewildering machines underneath.
Oh, totally.
Like your coffee, right?
Yeah.
Simple. Beans, water, milk. But then you start thinking about the global supply chain, the harvesting, shipping, roasting, barista training, the machine maintenance. It just
Yeah,
unravels.
into 1,000 tiny threads,
Yeah.
each one dependent on another. You only see it when something breaks.
Exactly. And it's only when one of those threads snaps that you truly see the hidden complexity.
It's so true. Kind of reminds me of how we simplify people, We see an action, we assign a motive. Simple.
Right.
But underneath, there's always this like intricate dance of past stuff, hidden feelings, unspoken things. It's all deeply personal and layered, always so much more going on.
And that's really why we do this, isn't it? Just diving into these wild landscapes, whether it's the human mind or today the global music industry. This particular deep dive is powered by Neon Core Media. And it's a big one because you look at music today and it feels like it's everywhere. More people streaming, more listening than ever, truly omnipresent.
Yeah, you can't escape it.
But then you hear artists, especially people who actually write the songs, talking about how they're still struggling, like really struggling to see any real money from all that. It just doesn't add up, you know?
It creates this huge disconnect, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You've got this explosion of listening, music everywhere, often super cheap or free for the listener. But the creators, the actual songwriters, they feel left out financially.
Yeah, it feels like someone's making bank, but it's not the person who birthed the tune.
It really challenges that whole idea of value,
Yeah.
right, in creative work. If something's consumed more than ever, shouldn't the people who made it be doing okay?
You'd think so.
It makes you ask,
Mhm.
is the system broken, or is it just working perfectly for someone else, not the artists?
So our mission today is to truly pull at those threads, to explore those hidden currents, the complicated pathways of money and power in the modern music industry. Specifically, what happens after a song is made and released into the digital ether, and who ultimately truly benefits. Because it absolutely feels like there's a secret economy happening right under our noses.
A vast, invisible network.
Yeah.
Billions changing hands, but the source feels neglected.
All right, let's try to untangle this. The core issue is pretty stark. Streaming is, like, by a huge margin, the fastest growing revenue stream in music.
Right. It's the main way people listen now.
And from what I was reading, the money allocated to the song copyright on streams, some newer deals, can actually be more than double what it was on a CD.
Double.
Okay, so that sounds good on paper.
You'd think. Cause
Well,
for
let's
celebration,
learn.
right. Yet songwriters and their managers are like consistently saying they are absolutely not seeing that benefit. So what on earth is happening?
Yeah, where's the disconnect?
Yeah.
Is it simply more co-writers on songs now, so the pot gets split thinner? Or how money is shared across an album? Or is it something else, something more systemic and shadowy?
Well, it's definitely not just one thing. More co-writers is a factor, for sure.
Okay.
I mean, think about it. A song used to be maybe one person. Now it's often 4 or 5. So each slice is automatically smaller.
Makes sense.
And yeah, how money gets accounted for across an album with hits and deeper cuts, that complicates things too. But honestly, what I keep hearing, what seems to really frustrate people, is the sheer inefficiency and, frankly, the deliberate lack of transparency in how payments work.
Okay, so the plumbing is busted.
It's like the money enters this incredibly elaborate, almost Rube Goldberg-esque system, right? And by the time it dribbles out to the songwriter, there's just a trickle left, if anything. And the emotional impact of that, feeling so devalued when your song is literally playing everywhere, that must be immense, like a betrayal.
Yeah, that's what keeps hitting me. It's not just the lost cash, it's the feeling of powerlessness. So, okay, let's break down this digital pie. There's a fundamental split, right? When Spotify or Apple Music pays out, that money mainly goes to 2 buckets. First, the recording copyright, that's for the artist performing, and the label, the master recording.
Right, the actual track you hear.
And then there's the song copyright, that's for the songwriter and their publisher, the underlying composition, the notes and lyrics.
The blueprint.
Exactly. And historically, even now, the recording copyright gets the lion's share, a significantly bigger piece, often way bigger.
It's that historical imbalance just carrying over and maybe even getting worse with digital. Think of it like your house analogy. The song copyright is the blueprint, the creative idea.
Yeah.
The recording copyright is the actual finished house. In the old days, building that physical house studio time, engineers, marketing, pressing vinyl, cost a fortune. Huge risk.
Right. Physical product.
So the master, the house, was the main product and got most of the money to recoup those costs. The song itself, the blueprint, always the smaller slice, even though it's the foundation.
So even if the song's share on streams has, say, doubled from like 5% to 10% of a fraction of a penny.
Yeah, even then, the recording side, the house, might still be getting 90% of that tiny fraction. The blueprint, no matter how brilliant, gets the leftovers.
And that's where the confusion starts for so many. Because on paper, it looks better for songwriters.
Right. More money allocated technically.
But then you dive into these labyrinthine royalty chains. I saw this visual, right? Songwriter in the middle, surrounded by this like sprawling galaxy of publishers, home societies, foreign societies, SPVs, hubs, services.
A cosmic spider web, yeah.
It looked less like a pipe and more like, yeah, a chaotic net designed to catch everything but the songwriter's share.
That visual is so spot on because it shows the overwhelming complexity. It's not point A to point B. Streaming service pays a partner, a publisher, collecting society, hub, agency. And that partner is supposed to pass on what's owed. But that's where it splits into single link versus multiple royalty chains.
Ah, okay. Multiple chains sound messy.
Very. Single link might be one main publisher collecting globally, maybe simpler, multiple chains. Your song might be registered and licensed through different groups in different countries, or different types of groups for different rights. It fragments instantly.
And that's where the friction just grinds everything down.
Exactly.
Multiple chains mean different delays, different deductions at every single step, especially with those reciprocal deals between collecting societies in different countries. They might only swap money once a year.
Once a year. Imagine that.
Seriously. So a society in Germany collects for a U.S. songwriter, holds it for months, then sends it back annually, and then both the German society and the U.S. society take their cut, their commissions.
Before the writer sees a penny.
So that single stream worth maybe, what, 0.003 cents? That tiny amount splits, flows down multiple paths, each taking a toll, a fee. It's no wonder it feels like a black hole. Pennies being chased by dimes trying to take their cut.
By the time it reaches the songwriter, it's dust. And it's more than just less money. It's the total lack of control and clarity.
Yeah.
Which leads to that huge problem of underclaimed song money. Royalties generated, paid out by Spotify, but they just vanish into the system because they can't be matched to the right writer or publisher.
How does that even happen?
Often just bad data. Typos in song titles, misspelled names, different versions of songs registered differently everywhere. It's maddening.
So where does that money go? Does it just evaporate?
It basically sits in limbo,
Yeah.
like the suspense account. Or sometimes, eventually, it might get redistributed to other rights holders who were correctly identified. So one person's loss is another's random bonus.
Seriously? That's
Yeah.
messed up.
It really is. And that's where the emotional impact hits hard. It's not just lost money. It's feeling like the system is designed to hide things, leaving you wondering if you're being actively ripped off.
That's it. Transparency, that's what everyone's screaming for. Because right now, it's practically impossible or just way too expensive for most songwriters to even try tracking their own money globally.
Imagine being an indie writer
Yeah.
in, like, Portland, Oregon. Your song pops off in Japan, Germany, Brazil.
Yeah.
To track those micro royalties, you'd need to deal with dozens of societies, different languages, different reporting systems, cross-reference everything. It's impossible for one person or a small team.
Total nightmare.
So the demand is growing. Societies, publishers shine a light. They want clear data on ownership, the specific royalty chains used for their songs, all the deductions, all the delays, and they want it freely available, not hidden behind paywalls or red tape.
And just being able to access the databases is huge, right?
Yeah.
Your income depends on some database halfway across the world, and you can't even check if your song is listed correctly.
It's like flying blind in thick fog, but your livelihood is on the line.
Yeah.
It raises massive questions for managers. Which chains are being used? Are there better ones? Why don't data clashes, conflicting info for the same song get automatically flagged? How long does money actually take to flow from a stream in Argentina to a bank in Nashville?
These aren't small questions, they're fundamental.
Absolutely. It points to this deep systemic opacity that makes artists feel like outsiders in their own business.
Yeah, and it's not just the money, it's the mental load, isn't it? The constant stress. You pour your soul into creating something, and it vanishes into this black box. You have no idea when or if you'll get paid properly.
It feels like a betrayal of the whole creative spirit, forces you to be an accountant instead of an artist.
So we've waded through the money side, which is honestly just depressing, an absolute mess. Let's rewind a bit, though. Before all that royalty mess, there's the actual creation of the song.
Spark.
Yeah, the genesis. And that's fascinating now because it's so diverse, almost fragmented. You have pop writers, I read, just humming over instrumental tracks somebody already made in GarageBand, like piecing together a puzzle. Or rock musicians just picking up a guitar, noodling around, letting their fingers find a riff that sparks something.
Totally. The process is so personal.
Yeah.
No single formula. Some artists talk about just noodling around, like you said, almost discovering something that's already there.
Yeah, listening for it.
Others, especially on commercial projects, sit down with parameters, a deadline. It's disciplined, almost structured. And that's often how you get good, right?
Yeah.
That whole 1,000 bad songs theory.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that.
The idea isn't literally making trash, but that mastery comes from volume, consistent effort, pushing through blocks, embracing failure, not just waiting for the muse, treating creativity like a muscle.
We got to work it out. And it's interesting how many alternative artists now are these like all-in-one packages, not just the singer, but doing production, mixing, mastering, everything.
The full stack creative.
Yeah, which adds layers to their involvement and theoretically their potential cut if they could ever track it down, which, as we know...
Big if. It shows this self-sufficiency that's emerged, partly out of necessity, partly because the tech is accessible now.
Right.
That control can be empowering, a singular vision, but it's also carrying the weight of everything.
Right.
Huge potential for burnout when one person wears all the hats.
Totally. And then you have the songwriting camps. This whole concept, the scale of it, just blew my mind.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I knew they existed, but not like this. Loads of sessions packed into a short time, often in these crazy, exclusive, exotic places. A Rihanna camp in a French chateau, others in Bali, Irish castles. It sounds like a fantasy, right?
It sounds glamorous. A creative paradise, almost.
But then you hear about something like the Antisocial Camp, apparently the biggest one in the world. 250 artists, writers, producers picked from 10,000 applicants.
10,000. Okay, the competition is insane.
In the brief. Write the next hit single for the artist in the room before those 4 hours are over.
Whoa. Okay, that's intense. That's not a relaxed retreat. That's a pressure cooker.
Totally. High pressure, commercialized output. A creative sprint. The toll of trying to force that kind of quality under that deadline must be immense. Very different from the lone artist image.
Stark contrast. But there's another side too, right?
Yeah. The flip side is this community aspect. Apparently, it's also seen as a celebration for creators, a chance to find new collaborators you'd never meet otherwise.
Finding your tribe.
Exactly. Someone described it as summer camp for adults in an industry that can be super lonely, especially if you work alone. Feeling seen, understood, when maybe your family doesn't quite get it.
That sense of belonging, that shared experience can be huge, counteracts the isolation. Imagine connecting with people who actually understand your specific struggles and joys.
Must be a relief.
And the potential for real opportunities, showcases at Spotify, YouTube, Grammys parties, TikTok lounges. It's a real bridge from the creative work to industry access.
So it's not just networking, it's like actual potential deals.
Critical turning points, yeah.
Yeah.
Can unlock doors, it provides validation and maybe a path forward.
Yeah, I think that's why people go, not just the lottery ticket chance of a hit, but that connection. Okay, but let's get back to the money trail, because this producer cut thing gets really complex. These upfront fees for producers vary wildly. Indie release, artist with maybe under 10K Spotify followers, maybe $2,000, $3,000 a track. Indie label, closer to $4,500. Major label, new artist, around $6,000 per track. And then superstar producers. I saw figures like $100,000 for one song.
Wow. That's a staggering range. Shows the perceived value.
And that upfront fee is just the start, often.
Yeah.
Then you get into back-end royalties, two types, right?
Right. First, there's publishing. That's usually split evenly among co-writers based on their contribution. 3 writers, 3 ways, 33.3% each. That one's supposedly easy to explain.
Supposedly, okay.
But then you get to master royalties. Money from the actual sound recording. That's where it gets really high.
Right, because the producer often technically owns 100% of the master recording until the artist or label buys it back with that upfront fee.
Ah, okay. Temporary leverage.
So if I pay you $3K as the artist, I now own the master. And the songwriters, especially top-liners, the melody and lyrics people, they usually don't get a piece of that master royalty pool at all.
Completely separate pot of money. Reserved for performers and the recording owners.
And then there are points.
Yeah, points. Percentages of the master royalties a producer might get after a condition is met.
Like what?
Like after the artist or label has recouped that initial upfront fee, through streams, syncs, whatever the master earns. So say the producer got a $5 K fee and has 10 points, 10% of master royalties.
Okay.
Those 10 points only kick in after the artist earns back that first $5,000 from the song. Until then, nothing more from the master for the producer.
So it's a deferred payment tied to success, which relies on complex accounting and might take ages, if ever.
Exactly. So many layers of negotiation and conditional earnings makes it incredibly hard to predict or track income.
So the big question, do most emerging artists, or even the ones at these intense camps, truly get how these complex splits work? It feels like the system is almost designed to be confusing for artists.
It feels that way sometimes.
I mean, the camps encourage equal publishing splits, hand out split sheets, which is good, foster collaboration. But what happens when someone doesn't play by the rules, tries to grab more later?
It highlights a huge education gap, a massive vulnerability. Many artists are driven by passion, not by understanding IP law or complex contracts.
Yeah, they just want to make music.
Without that knowledge, they're susceptible to unfair deals, even exploitation. Split sheets are great, but if you don't understand them, or there's no real enforcement beyond good faith, it's just a suggestion.
Not a safeguard.
Exactly. Power dynamics often favor those with more info, better lawyers,
Yeah.
leaving emerging artists confused, overwhelmed, potentially signing away rights without grasping the long-term impact.
Man, makes you wonder how many amazing songs exist where the creators never saw their fair share. That constant battle between art and the cold, hard business of it all.
Passion versus profit. A constant conflict.
So if the old gatekeepers were tangible people, radio DJs like Dick Clark, or those early R&B DJs breaking artists based on gut feeling.
Or A&R reps scouting clubs.
Right. What's happened now? It feels like we've swapped human taste for the cold logic of algorithms.
The evolution is fascinating and, yeah, a bit unsettling. Algorithms, Spotify Discover Weekly, YouTube recommendations are all data-driven. Your habits, skips, replays, friends lists.
Yeah, they know what I had for breakfast, probably.
Right. On the surface, discovery seems easy, tailored to you. But the downside is predictability. It often keeps you in a narrow taste bubble, recycling familiar stuff.
Totally feel that.
You lose that serendipity, that unexpected find a human DJ might offer, something truly new or challenging that expands your world instead of just reinforcing it. Are we getting too comfy in our bubbles?
Missing out on the weird stuff? Yeah, probably. But then I read human curators do still exist at these places, like Sam Lee at Deezer, managing over 100 playlists.
Okay, interesting.
They use analytics, sure, for demographics and trends, but they still maintain an editorial tone. And they push back against labels trying to force tracks onto their lists just for exposure. He said, it's one of the things humans do better than computers.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
Algorithms optimize, they can't feel it.
Right.
That human intuition, cultural understanding, emotional intelligence, that judgment is invaluable.
Yeah.
It's the difference between a calculated suggestion and a truly curated experience. But it means those few human curators have huge, almost hidden power, the new tastemakers behind the digital curtain.
Which brings us to the indie artists trying to survive all this. Because streaming pays pennies, artists have had to diversify like crazy. Merch, for instance.
Oh, yeah.
I used to think band tees were just cool souvenirs. But now, it's a vital financial strategy, not a side hustle, often a main revenue stream.
Totally. Especially on tour. Tour wages can be shockingly low, like $250, $350 a gig for a new band, or maybe $45, $70K salary for a hired gun on a big tour.
That barely covers costs. You could go into debt just playing shows.
Exactly. Merch often makes the difference between profit and flop. And platforms like Fourth Wall make it easier. Custom stores, print-on-demand, direct-to-fan sales, no inventory needed.
That's huge. Empowering.
It shows the entrepreneurial hustle required just to survive.
And it's not just physical stuff. Live shows are still key, that direct connection. But now virtual shows, StageEye, Zoom, Twitch offer global reach. Ticketing, tips, donations. Play to Australia from your bedroom.
Game changer for access. That adaptability is crucial. Then you've got mechanical royalties from copies made, physical or digital, even streams. Super complex to navigate globally, though.
Not a maze.
And sync licensing placements in TV, movies, games, ads. Fees might be lower now, but the sheer volume of content creates more opportunities. Can be done independently or through publishers.
Plus smaller things. Music lessons via Zoom. I saw London rates were like £40 an hour back in 2020. Decent side hustle using your core skill.
For sure. Or session work freelancing for other artists. Competitive, but always needed. Online portals connect people globally. And sample packs. Huge business now with electronic music booming, creating loops, beats, passive income potential.
It's really about building this, like, patchwork quilt of income streams just to stay afloat.
It shows incredible resilience,
Mm.
not waiting for a deal but building their own ecosystems.
Mm.
But within all that hustle, there are still shadows, like ghostwriting.
Ah, yes.
Secret writers, prevalent in pop, electronic, hip-hop, often implies total anonymity for the actual creator.
And it's not new, right? Been happening forever. Dolly Parton wrote "I Will Always Love You" for Whitney. Prince wrote "Nothing Compares to You" for Sinead. Otis Redding wrote "Respect" for Aretha.
Ed Sheeran wrote Love Yourself for Bieber. Frank Ocean wrote I Miss You for Beyonce.
Yeah.
Absolute classics defined eras, and most people have no clue who originally wrote them. It really messes with the idea of authenticity, especially in hip-hop, where personal narrative is so valued. Drake faced accusations, sparked huge debates. Is it your art if someone else wrote the words?
Does it diminish the artist?
Yeah. And remember we talked about Daniel Lynn Bates, DLB, reportedly ghostwritten for tons of artists, pop, R&B, but NDAs keep it all hidden. I remember seeing something about a Leap Universal agreement giving a rare glimpse of his involvement on a major track, usually buried.
That's wild. What does it say about the industry when so much defining work is hidden, uncredited? Like a secret society of creators building empires for others while their own names are erased.
The polished image versus the messy, collaborative, often anonymous reality. Perception over reality.
That idea of hidden hands, manufactured authenticity. It ties into global stuff too, like K-pop, which is just a whole different beast compared to the Western indie artist, almost the opposite.
Totally. The foundations are worlds apart. K-pop has that intense trainee system. Kids recruited at 10 or 12, living in dorms, years of brutal training.
Not just singing.
No. Exhaustive daily lessons. Synchronized choreo, vocals, rap, multiple languages, media etiquette, public speaking, strict image control. It's like an artist factory aiming for perfection before debut.
Versus the Western indie artist building organically online, small gigs, learning as they go, self-driven hustle versus institutional investment.
Exactly. And the performance. K-pop is hyper-synced choreo, polished stages, elaborate concepts, huge budget videos like short films. Even vocalists nail complex dances live.
While Western pop is more diverse styles, maybe focusing more on raw vocals, stage presence, crowd interaction, less uniform.
And K-pop is mostly groups, right? Boy-girl groups, each member assigned a role. Visual main, dancer, leader, matinee, a collective persona. Western pop leans more solo, though groups exist.
Different philosophy, but now there's this westernization debate within K-pop.
Yeah, the concern is losing its K, its Korean identity. Releasing full English tracks like BTS's Dynamite, aiming for global charts.
Trying to broaden appeal.
But Korean fans criticize it. Feel newer stuff is indistinguishable from American pop, losing originality, cultural flavor, saying fashion, themes are exact copies.
Sacrificing uniqueness for the global market. That tension between commercial reach and artistic integrity again. And it links to those archetypes too, right?
Mm-hmm. Companies often trap idols in specific roles, cutesy, badass, bad boy, meticulously crafted personas. Only years later, after massive fame, might they break free and show their real selves.
Must be a huge psychological burden living out a constructed identity daily for years.
Absolutely. But the marketing and monetization. Insanely sophisticated and effective, visually dominant, driven by TV and performance. High-budget videos are standard.
And the brand power is nuts.
Staggering. Idols promote brands way more than Western celebs, 70% of Korean commercials versus maybe 25% here. Their reputation, fan loyalty, can boost corporate sales 400% in a year. It's economic alchemy.
400%. Unbelievable. And the fandoms are next level, like intense sports fans, groups competing on shows, fans voting, cheering, making fan freebies for shows, building community.
It's immersive, competitive, deeply communal, not just passive listening. And idols aren't just musicians, they're total entertainers.
Right, their own cable channel of content.
Acting, hosting, reality shows, travel vlogs, game shows, live streams, showcasing personalities, team dynamics, builds incredibly deep parasocial bonds. Plus the hourly digital charts, the perfect all-kill goal, constant pressure for visibility.
So what can each side learn? The U.S. market could learn from Korea's growth, embracing streaming early, government cultural investment.
Huge factors. But Korea could learn from the U.S. about valuing creators better in their streaming model. Record companies get 66% per stream there, composers 16%, artists only 8%.
8%? Wow, even with lower subscription fees, that's brutal.
Highlights an undervaluing of the creative core, lion's share to corporations. And Korea needs diversification beyond the big three companies. Let indies thrive. It's finding balance between the K-pop machine and the indie Western model. Both have strengths, both have flaws in compensating creators.
Yeah, that 8% for artists. That just hits hard. Changes the whole idea of what success even means.
Definitely.
So if that's the complex present, what's the future whispering? AI, blockchain, another revolution coming? Or just more complexity?
AI is already shifting things, enhancing recommendations, making playlists spookily accurate. I saw something about it boosting precision even with explainability, telling you why it recommended something, which is usually a trade-off, making the black box slightly less black.
Okay, so better discovery maybe.
But the bigger questions, AI composing music. Where's creativity then? Ethics? Integrity when a machine writes a convincing song?
That's the mind bender. If a machine makes something that evokes emotion, what does that mean for the human soul in music? And for coders, if AI automates basic stuff, do only the true engineers who understand feel and nuance like musicians remain essential?
Great parallel. Needing more than technical skill, needing depth, critical thinking. Then you have NFTs, blockchain, a new direct way to monetize. Kings of Leon's golden ticket NFTs.
Right, lifetime front row seats.
3LAU tokenizing albums for millions. Disclosure, selling one song NFT for $69K. Often smart contracts too, meaning artists get cuts of resales automatically. Potential passive income game changer.
Serious cash, new avenue, huge potential for direct fan connection, fairer pay maybe, bypassing those tangled royalty chains. But still feels like the Wild West, doesn't it? Volatile, complex.
Definitely early days.
Yeah.
But an opportunity for artists to build their own networks. So the industry is always shifting. That long-tail sting idea is interesting too.
What's that?
Legal issues around user-generated content, TikTok, YouTube lawsuits over unlicensed music could lead to platforms putting up defensive walls, stricter filters, pricier licenses. Might make it harder, less cheap for indie artists to get music out there,
Just as things got more accessible, they could get harder again. New gatekeepers.
potentially shortening that long tail of niche music. Fewer orphan tracks, maybe, but also less diversity.
Man, the goalposts are always moving. What does making it even mean now? Just paying rent, making music daily, or something deeper: connection, community, surviving the hustle without losing your soul?
That feeling of never quite arriving. The industry is this vast, changing ocean. Artists just trying to find a current that won't drown them. It's unresolved for everyone.
Yeah. I mean, after all this, how many layers are still hidden? Are we really in control of what we hear, or just fed what algorithms or hidden hands decide?
Is the creative soul of music being lost or just redefined in ways we can barely grasp yet?
What does it truly mean to be an artist, a creator, a hustler in this wild digital first world where the rules keep changing right in front of us?
I don't know.
This episode is powered by Neon Core Media for stories they said were too real to tell.